Welcome into Target Score. Today, it is finals week. We are now a little more than 24 hours away from the CEBL final. No longer plural, it is one. Want to thank our presenting sponsors today, Holt Dental, Zwieke, Monday's Cafe, and Finn McCool's. Finn McCool's had their teal party. They have some gift certificates we'll be giving away tomorrow and on Sunday. We're going to have a wrap-up show. And be aware, because we might have a live on location where you guys can come out, have a coffee at Mondays, and shoot the poop, as they say, with us a little bit about, and maybe hopefully it'll be celebratory. The Brampton boys won't like that, because breaking news, the Brampton boys are coming to Winnipeg for the game. They'll be here tomorrow morning, so we're excited for that. But yeah, just want to take a quick second here. Holt Dental, a day one sponsor, with the game day reports. Happy to have Dr. John Holt and his team helping us present this programming today at 1176 Taylor Avenue. Zwieke has been a great sponsor here this week. Hit up their campus. It is a real campus. They have outdoor courts. They've got a place where they can go to play basketball. They have the high tops. It's a party out there. And you can visit their website, zwieke.ca, for the best in athletic leisure. Of course, Monday's Cafe, corner of Broadway and Donald. Probably be seeing us there on Sunday. And Finn McCool's in Grant Park, the Grant Park Mall parking lot. They always have their happy hour from 2 to 5, so make sure that you're there. Taylor. It's my microphone here. There we go. Sound a little better, Tay?
There we go. Now we're talking. Literally.
Really talking. Taylor Allen, it felt like a week ago, maybe more, that we last spoke, having our last normal Target Score Winnipeg show. A lot has happened. It's only been 3 days. Isn't that weird? A lot has happened in 3 days.
That's life in the CEBL, man. A lot can happen in 3 days.
And you have not had the chance to give your take on this. You had to embrace this all, and you're doing double duty today because you still have to cover the Bombers game for the Winnipeg Free Press. So we appreciate you being here today. How do you put the craziness into words?
Well, Joey, I'm having a nice week, and I could tell you that I'm having a much better week than probably whoever works at the CAA center and whoever made that call to install that ice the day before game one of the CEBL Finals. My goodness, Joey. Honestly, I'm kind of glad that I had a day or two to kind of think about this and gather my thoughts, and I wasn't on the post-game live Wednesday night with you guys, because honestly, Joey, like, my first reaction was anger, right? Like, how could this happen? Everyone was so excited. In Winnipeg, in Brampton, I mean, they got more fans than they usually do, right? And the Sea Bears are such a great story, and the Brampton Honey Badgers are a great story too. I mean, all year long, everyone just assumed that Scarborough was going to be the team that make it to the finals, and this was a game that really, could have gone either way. And there's so much excitement about the league finally being a best-of-3 series, and then the game starts. Both teams are knocking down shots, they're playing well. But then Xavier Moon's out there looking like he's on skates, and they call a break. And, if you're watching from home, you're kind of left in the dark, right? They just said, oh, okay, well, we're going to take a 20-minute break here to kind of assess the situation. It's like, oh, okay, this is kind of bizarre. And then the screen just kind of goes blank, and nothing ever kind of came back. There was really no obvious announcement for the viewers at home, which honestly was ridiculous, right? Like, what was keeping me in the loop? I mean, I didn't really want to bug you much because I figured your phone was blowing up and you were there, in the thick of things and whatever. But honestly, what was keeping me in the loop, Joey, was watching it on YouTube. There was a guy in the comment section kind of saying, "Oh, I'm at the game right now, and they're actually talking about canceling the game, and it's because of this and because of that." And like, basically, this one random commenter on YouTube, I wish I remembered what his handle was, but basically, thanks to this guy, like, that was what was keeping everyone in the loop. Wasn't the CEO and president of the CEBL or someone, someone else, right? Like, it was just this random commenter on YouTube that was keeping us in the loop. So yeah, honestly, like, I was pissed off. Like, this was just like, it's a black eye for the league, right? And then now, honestly, after a day or two of kind of thinking about it, my anger has kind of switched to sadness in a way, right? Like, this is kind of low-hanging fruit for everyone to kind of pick on this league and pick on this series and whatever, right? And you see all these these hockey reporters and hockey fans and these hockey twats who never talk about this league, who never cover this league, never watch. They wouldn't cross the street to watch a CEBL game, and they're all bashing the league and, oh, how could this happen? Oh, this is hilarious, blah blah blah. It's like, get out of here, man. Like this league, this sport means a lot to a lot of people in this country, and you and I are, perfect examples of that, right? Like, we've, for 4 years now or whatever it's been, we've been putting in time every week to give this league some coverage and the Sea Bears coverage, and doing at least our tiniest little part just to give a platform for players and fans and other reporters and stuff too, just to kind of help kind of grow this league. And we love doing it, right? So it just kind of sucks that when this league is about to have a big moment on TV, on YouTube, on CBC Gem, right? Like, there's no excuses for anyone to not find this game, and it ends up. Again, I realize shit happens, but like, it's just such a bummer, man. So yeah, I went from anger to kind of sadness, and I guess now I'm kind of in the acceptance stage a little bit, because honestly, glass half full, Joey. Saturday is going to be so much fun. Like, of course, a 3-game series would have been awesome, and like, everyone loves a series, and it's kind of the best way to determine a true champion. But but Saturday, that's going to be the biggest moment in pro basketball history in Winnipeg, right? There's never been a moment that even comes close to that. So it's awesome that the lower bowl is sold out. I'm sure the upper deck is going to be mostly sold out, or who knows, maybe even officially sold out. And that place is going to be absolutely rocking. So yeah, hopefully after Saturday, after a hard fought game that goes down to the wire, we can kind of forget what happened in game one. But honestly, Joey, I think it really is a black eye on the league. I mean, you Google CEBL, this is going to be the first thing that pops up, and you see people from all over the place kind of talking about this and whatever. So yeah, it's a bummer. Hey, I'm mad, I'm sad, I've accepted it. Yeah, it's been a weird few days. So I can't imagine what it was like for you actually being there and actually stepping on that court and seeing your footprint on the court with all the moisture and whatnot. So yeah,
it was the right decision. It was just it was unfortunate it had to be made. And I've said this before. And shout out Gene on our day one fan. Gene and Juliet watching the show, and she says, I think the CEBL as a league has a lot of opportunities to grow following this. I agree, Taylor. And I think a lot of people are on the same page as you. And I'll go over it a little bit, but like, this is what we've been talked about it in the post game. We talked about it yesterday on the show. I did. Before flying out yesterday, I had 4 interviews, with media talking about this. I knew I was going to be on CJOB morning show regardless. The start with Greg Mackling to talk about the game, but didn't anticipate it would be about this, right? About, a game not happening. Then global news, CTV were calling, like, this became a true news story.
And you would not have had those 4 interviews, if we're being honest, if it was just a normal basketball game. Like, people or like outlets that don't cover this league, that don't cover the Sea Bears, they were sinking their teeth into this because this is just such a crazy situation.
Well, I'll say this. I've not seen CTV at anything this year, right, for the CBL and the Sea Bears. And then, they want to cover this. And it's news. Like, and that's why, because it is a news story. There were a ton of people who have traveled from Winnipeg to, to Brampton. I was talking to people not even from Winnipeg, like one guy, Nick, who might be watching here today or watching the replay. So Nick, what's up? Nick is from Kingston, and he's a huge fan of the pod. And he's like, I'm just a CBL fan, man. Like, this is disappointing. He was there with his partner. They had traveled from Kingston. They were looking forward to it, and they saw 1 minute and 46 seconds of basketball. Shout out to the Winnipeg Free Press for having a beat reporter. Josh Frey-Sam had a story following it up and called, I wouldn't say called out the league, but put it out there that we asked for someone to talk, right? We wanted to talk to someone from the league, and we were told we stand by our statement. Listen, man, this is not a legal suit. This is not something that, can hurt your brand essentially by putting a face in front of it and talking about it. And props to the league for putting out a timely statement and explaining how it was going to work. Was it the right decision? I don't know, because there's people that know the rules better than I do that say, based on what happened, even though it wasn't the team's fault, it should have been resulted in a forfeit and continued on as is, right? But I won't jump into that because at the end of the day, it
That
was
would have
agreed
sucked
upon.
too.
It would have sucked for
That
sure.
probably should have happened, but then if you're the Seabears and you win on Saturday and it's like, okay, we won the 3-game series, it's like,
Yeah, but that's the
no
thing.
one would have wanted that.
So both teams agreed. Like, let's just make it a 1-game playoff, winner take all. And that's like the fine line. Like, I don't want to get too much into it because I don't have the background of like the entire FIBA rules with this. But in terms of integrity of the league, which I've been strong on, you have to follow the rules as they are written, and do it properly. But I do agree that I like this decision more. I like the winner take all. We're used to this style of play in terms of playoff basketball in the CEBL. But regardless of that, then today or yesterday, I guess, in the Free Press, the president, Ty Masriou, does come out and say, no, this isn't a black eye. And I'm like, I'm reading it. I'm like, at least we're putting a face to it, but let's just call a spade here. It was unfortunate. We're looking at it. We dealt with it the way we were supposed to, and we're moving forward. And just say it's been a difficult year. No one expects it to be perfect. We know there's a change in leadership. They do not have a commissioner, right? But to kind of just ignore it and just say, no, nothing's wrong here. No, you guys are seeing things. Like, no, like the fans are smart. They've been here for 8 years. And if you're in the Winnipeg or the new markets, you've been a very strong supporter for the last 4. And the interest in the league and the people that are engaged with the league have jumped as well. So, to just say like, no, it's all good. This isn't a black eye. What are you talking about? Like, no, that's not, it is like sometimes, you have to get in battles and you're going to come out with bruises. Doesn't mean you're down and out. Right. And that's kind of the narrative that, you probably should have went with. Hey, yeah, it's a huge knock. This has been a tough 2 weeks. I can tell you personally, as in my position, like this has been a tough one. We've never seen anything like it. It's unprecedented. Everything that's happened, like all in one jar, from, the brawls to the people leaving right before, the assault incident, all of it. And the ice, right? Whatever. And then you've got the CAA center saying it wasn't the ice. Like, again, I'm not a scientist, but for the CAA center to be like, no, it's just the weather. Just the humid. Like, it was humid. I get it. But they also brought up the situation on July 14th where they had 40+ degree weather and about as many kids that were running around, opening doors, coming in and out. And there was no issues with the court. So I think there was just, for a lot of parties here, it's just a lot of denial. And I just would like to see a little more upfront of, hey, this is what happened. And it should have been done on the broadcast. Hey, like I didn't watch the broadcast, but, CBC going to Murdoch Mysteries and TSN going to some top whatever. In the past when this has happened, and I can tell you as a broadcaster, it's not easy, right? The play-by-play and the color commentary, trying to give live updates, stretch the time for the allotted time that you have for the game to give the updates, allow the commissioner, well, in this case, I guess the president or whoever, a spokesperson, the time to get their messaging straight, to come out, address the fans that are watching and say, this is what's happening. This is what's going to happen, and have it put out the statement as well, but also have someone come out and just say, listen, we're going to move forward. It's going to be a 1-game playoff on Saturday. We're still excited. This is not the end of it, right? Like, this is a tough day for sure, but we still have the most exciting part. The championship is still going to be awarded, and we're still going as scheduled on Saturday. We apologize to the fans that made it out here, and we appreciate your support. But we promise you, come Saturday, there will be no disappointment, in Winnipeg when the CEBL championship is handed out for the 8th time, to a new champion in terms of a city, whatever. Make it up, like whatever your messaging is, because we've seen this in Montreal, and that's what Chuck Swirsky did, and Amy Odebear. They had to stretch for time, and I don't think they were happy about it, but it was the right thing to do. And then Mike Morielli, the commissioner at the time, came out and addressed on TV what was happening in an interview with the sideline reporter, I believe it was. And, right or wrong, it is what it is. You can base your opinions on that, but at least we're putting out the facts that we do have and what we can talk about, and give people the best information. So it is what it is. It's done. I do feel for the Brampton team, like in terms of like the organization, because as you said, it was their biggest night ever. There was a buzz in the building, and the right decision was made. That's where you also have to give the league credit. They didn't push it. They didn't, try to put on a game where guys could have got injured. No one was injured. So the right decision was made. It was disappointing. It was shocking. It was weird. It was a little chaotic. But at the end of the day, they moved forward. Both teams are in Winnipeg today. They will be practicing today, and tomorrow it will be on as normal at a 2:30 Central Time start, 3:30 Eastern Time start on CBC and TSN and everywhere you watch the game. Sure, I'd prefer it be at night, but it is what it is. It's in the afternoon, and we're all looking forward to it, and it's going to be a very celebratory day. But as I said before, after tomorrow, when the trophy is lifted and, the Sunday and, the week leading up, you have a little bit of leeway to just celebrate that we got through the season. The champions have their chance to celebrate rightfully. There's no asterisks on this. Even though that game one wasn't played, I still think this is a true, honest championship. And then after that, the league does have to reconvene and think, what do we have to do in 2027 to make sure that, if you can't keep all chaos from happening, there's going to be adversity throughout the season. But how are we going to deal with that? What's our messaging, right? What is our crisis communication going to be if we do run into something like this again? A lot of lessons are learned here. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. I think this is a great opportunity. It's like ripping off the gauze. It's not a Band-Aid. This is like the gauze after stitches from surgery, right? You just got to rip it off. It's going to hurt like hell. And then after that, let the air get in and let the healing start. But you have to take this and learn from it. I've talked about this before. You watch any documentaries, read any books on, all the leagues, NHL, NBA, ABA, WHA. Some failed, some didn't, some amalgamated with others, but they all go through some sort of adversity where it looks like it's the end, right? For some it is. But for a lot, they learn from it, they move forward, and they still face adversity year in and year out, but they're better equipped for it. So I just hope the league can take what they learned from this and put it into practice next year.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. It was Bush League how it was handled. Like, you're absolutely right. Someone should have, been in front of a camera and saying, "Hey, this is happening. We're sorry. This is unacceptable, but unfortunately, this is the situation, and we're just going to do the best that we can do. And Saturday, we're going to go out, have that one game, and it'll be great." And yada yada yada. And yet that didn't happen. Everyone was left in the dark, and then the communication since then as well. Like, I've been reading these statements and whatever. Like, why is no one from the CAA Center, really been the face of this and said, "Hey, this is what happened, and this is the mistake that was happened, or this is why we didn't think it would be an issue," yada yada yada, and whatever. And the league as well. I mean, don't beat around the bush. Just say, like, yeah, we are so sorry this happened. This was unacceptable, but we are going to do everything in our power to ensure nothing like this ever happens again. You say that, people say, okay, we're still not happy, but like, okay, at least you're admitting that, this isn't good, and at least you're going to say, hey, that this is never going to happen again. But we didn't get that either. And then also the night of the game, why didn't we hear from any players? Well, I mean, I wasn't there. I don't know the whole situation.
To be fair, I will say, like, we did talk to players. Like, it was dispersal. Like, that's what I mean was chaotic. Like, players were in the stands, players were like, and they were trying to figure out, like, all of them said, like, it is what it is. Like, the safety is number one, and that's what they wanted. But like, and credit to the communications for both teams, right? Elias for Brampton, Emily for the Sea Bears, who did a great job trying to round everybody up. Like, all it was, Tay, is there was a rush. You just saw like some league officials baseline, and I think the owners were the ones that round them all up. But it was like the owners, the league leadership, the coaches, and I don't know who else was in there, but they just rushed to the back to go to a room where they can discuss this out in real time. Like, what are we doing from here? And the players were just kind of, like, dispersed. And it was, kind of hard to get them round up. I don't think it's because they didn't want to talk or they were told not to talk. None of us knew what to do. And I'll say that even from a media standpoint, we were waiting, like, is there going to be an announcement? And we're not even worried about the players in that point because we don't want to miss that opportunity to talk to the league. Like, that's who we all wanted to talk to first, like the league. And then we're told, okay, well, I believe David Asper spoke to Josh Raysam and the Free Press, and I believe, and then I spoke to Mike Rainbow. But again, I'm like, what's Mike Rainbow going to offer from any kind of official standpoint? I asked him about the situation. Has he ever been through it before? Like, how do they move forward? But we didn't really have any clarification, and like, it was just chaotic. It would have been nice to hear from players, and even from us. I think, like, now we know, okay, if this happens again, this is likely the protocol. So maybe we just try to grab who we can when we can, and expect that statement and run with it from there. But yeah, I will give the players a little credit here. I don't think it was them ducking by any stretch, because we did talk to them offhand, but like, no one really knew what was going on while we were talking. It was just kind of like, this is craziness. Like, no one's gone through this before. I spoke with Xavier Moon. He's like, this is crazy. He's seen a lot of stuff. He's never seen this, right? This was a first for everybody.
Yeah, and Matt Bonomi, who does such an awesome job, doing the Brampton pod and play by play, and the coverage with you, all week has been fantastic. And he was really stressing that no one at Brampton is the fault for this, blah blah blah, whatever. And I get that to an extent, but I don't think you can give them a pass for everything. At the end of the day, like they still were comfortable enough to host this game, right? And,
But you
and give
can't.
give it a
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
And they knew this ice was being installed, and they knew that they've never played a game, in a situation like this before, right? So I don't think you can just say, okay, well they did nothing wrong, la di da. It's like, well, no, at the end of the day, like this happened, and this was their chance to host their most important game in franchise history. And at the end of the day, like they knew that ice was being installed, and okay, sure, they voiced their displeasure with it, but at the end of the day, it got installed. And I realize they're a tenant at the CAA Center, but it's like if you have no pull in your arena and you can just get walked over to an extent, right? And something like this happens. Sorry, like honestly, like I think this probably should be the last game in Brampton. They don't get very many fans, if we're being honest. Like they have one of the lowest, fan bases in the league. And then again, like this was such a monumental night in league history, and regardless of whose fault it was, like they blew it. They dropped the ball. There's egg on their face and the entire league's face. So why should this team sell, or why should this city still have a CEBL market? Move them to Flin Flon for all I care. Like seriously, it's clearly it's not working. Like it's embarrassing, right? So
totally fair.
Something kind of has to happen here, right?
So I'll say that after the game, it was alluded to that was likely the last game at least the CAA Center, possibly in Brampton. And to your point, Taylor, like all of like, and people were saying that like, well, what, like they should have known before the game. It did look okay, right? And let's be fair. The Winnipeg Sea Bears have played on ice before. Right,
for sure, that's not uncommon. So but the fact, though, Joey, that the arena, though, they were cranking the temperature down to try to.
Okay, again, no, listen here, Tape. When you're paying for a tenant, just like the Winnipeg Sea Bears, they have no control over the operations of the actual arena. Okay, so and I understand there is some they have to wear some of it, which I believe they did, and they came out and expressed their disappointment and apologized. But at the end of the day, they brought up their concerns, but they had those insulation pads on it, right? And the arena saying it's not going to be a problem. Like this happens all the time, and it does. It happens in the NBA, it happens in the NHL, and when the air conditioning's cranked, that's not the Brampton Honey Badge. They're walking in there like, why is it so cold too? And I think that's where it has to come on the CAA Center to be brutally honest and just say, listen. Like we made an error. We promised these guys because it's not like there's just arenas everywhere in Brampton. That's the only one. I know it's a big city, but that's the only place they can play. They could have went to Mississauga, but again, what's the scheduling like where Raptors 905 play, right? At the Hershey Center or whatever it's called now. Like I understand, but the other thing where it falls on the league again, and there makes an argument for finals week or championship weekend. If you have the scheduling a year in advance, you don't have to worry about any of this. Right? You know exactly what's going to come up. You don't have to worry about the ice. You can build the contract that says as much, right? Even if it was here in Winnipeg. Hey, Winnipeg Jets start their training camp here, so we're having our thing here. So we cannot have ice because we're going to limit or eliminate all of those. Everything we can control, we're going to eliminate in terms of a concern. And this happened so quickly in terms of, as you mentioned, everybody thought it was going to be Scarborough. We didn't know who it was going to be until what was it Saturday, the finals or the conference finals. So we didn't know. And then it's a rush to figure out who's getting where. Believe me, I had to make the travel plans for just me. I couldn't imagine having to do it for a whole team and then having to book your arena, sell your tickets, all this other stuff. So as much as
professional sports, Joey, that's how it works. You never know what the seating is going to be. You never know, right? Like that's how it works. And honestly, I don't like that take, and I'm glad you brought that up because in the post game show, you're kind of talking about how like, well, maybe they could just have a neutral site for the finals like they used to, or go back to championship weekend. It's like, man, like again, Saturday, this atmosphere is going to be the best in league history.
Mm-hmm.
Go back on YouTube and watch some of the CEBL finals in these neutral sites. It ain't great, man. Like I don't want to watch a championship game with 2 or 3,000. But do you want to keep
going through this stuff? Like again, it's professional sports, but this is not the NBA. This is not the NHL. They have no control. They don't own the arenas, right? Like the Winnipeg Jets own the arena that they play in, True North, right? A lot of the Calgary owns their arena. There's no ownership. You are at the mercy of the arena, as we just saw in this case. So as much as I agree with you, there's no perfect answer. But I think at the end of the day, and I said it in the thing, maybe you make a contract that we know that the finals are going to be these days regardless. And then you have a contract with these arenas that say no ice. We've already seen that, because now we have proof. You can tell us all you want.
Yeah,
but we took your word for
that's
it,
fine.
and we can't do this anymore.
Yeah, for sure. That's totally fine. There has to be a solution though to keep it though, where it's not at a neutral site. I don't want to see the Sea Bears and Honey Badgers play for the CEBL title in Montreal or Saskatoon or wherever else, or Vancouver. It's like, no, like one of those teams should be raising the trophy in one of the arenas of those
So should
two
the
teams.
CFL do the same?
No, because it's different, man. The Grey Cup's
They had to build to it, right? That's what I mean.
The Grey Cup's a whole nother beast. They have a whole festival the whole week long.
So why can't the CEBL do that? Build a festival, make it an attraction.
It's not the same, man. It ain't the same.
I would just do it in Western Canada for 4 straight years. I would do it in Winnipeg. I would do it in Vancouver. I would do it in Edmonton.
But they basically have tried that, Joey. They've had these championship weekends, which have been fun. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed the experience in Winnipeg.
None of them have done it like Winnipeg.
Year.
I thought, like, I'll say, to counter your point, I thought Winnipeg set the example last year of what it could be, right? With the right marketing.
For sure, but Winnipeg can't host it every single year.
No, but you can set the tone that this is now the expectation when Vancouver hosts it, or when Calgary hosts it, or Edmonton, because Edmonton has an expo center. Could you imagine how fun it would be to do something at Edmonton like they had here, where they've got that whole facility that is built for massive events? I mean, you could do a lot with that. I'm not saying it has to be the neutral site, but I think it is worth revisiting. These finals, again, like the cost of travel. If you have a chance, go. The owner of Montreal put out a video of just what the cost is for a regular season game and how much they depend on the gate. So for a team like Winnipeg, or even Brampton in this case, I don't know if they were going to break even, like, because it was still just over 3,000 fans. But yeah, you get the gate from the finals, but all the other teams don't either, right? Is there a way that all the teams contribute to this, that it takes the cost off, that it is truly a festival like the CEBL, where you've got team party rooms, right, where you can build your culture?
That's not going to happen, and you know it. Like, the CFL has been around.
Why is it not?
Because the CFL has been around for 100+ years.
Exactly. But how did they get to it? How did they get to 100 years, Tay? Think about that for a second. When they started 100 years ago, or when they started
Apples
the Grey
to
Cup,
oranges, man.
Well,
the CFL has its flaws. Trust me, I cover it full time.
I know
it's not all sunshine, lollipops, and gumdrops.
You have to set a tradition. That's the thing. Where it's 8 years into the league, there needs to be a tradition set here with the CEBL, and whether it's a neutral site or not. Listen, neither worked. Okay, the best one yet was last year's championship weekend. And yes, we're going to have a great day on Saturday. But what happened in Brampton, I would much prefer a neutral site than have to travel from Winnipeg to Brampton to watch 1 minute and 46 seconds of basketball.
Yeah, of course. That's like the worst case scenario. But like,
it is the worst case, yeah.
But now that it's happened, I would imagine they are going to go above and beyond, or at least
I hope
better,
so,
to make sure that never, ever happens again. So well, I get what you're saying, but I don't think after this it's like, okay, well, now we have to go back to the neutral site.
No, but I also might just go one final, right? And give it a 3-day pad. So it's like, okay, we're going to have the final on the Friday or whatever, or the Saturday, but the teams are scheduled to be there. They can leave after, kind of like a tournament at U Sports, right? Like, you book you're there for the whole tournament, but you get knocked out in the first round, you just leave. But give yourself a pad that, like, hey, we're going to get this done on day one. But we have a pad that, like, schedule-wise, that the players know that, hey, if something goes wrong, we're going to play the next day, right? Like, we're going to fix it, whatever we do, have some sort of contingency plan, hoping that you never have to use it. But this goes back to the whole original argument.
What do you mean if something goes wrong? Like
a minute and 46 seconds of basketball and water on the court.
This can't happen again.
I know,
right? It can't.
There's no contingency plan either. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to have something in place, Taylor. All I'm saying is you can't just be like, it's all going to be perfect. Because it might not be perfect. You just never know what can happen. It could be a fire alarm. That happened. That happened in U Sports. A fire alarm went off in the middle of a Nationals game, and they had to get off the court and come back, right? Contingency plans in place of what do we do in these situations. You can't think of everything that will happen in a crisis. Otherwise, it would never be a crisis. This happens in numerous leagues of all types, stuff that we hear about, stuff that we don't hear about. But you have to have something in place that if people are going to spend their money and their time. I mean, to go to Brampton is not that easy. Yeah, the airport's not far, like it's in Mississauga on the border, but you got to pay for your hotels, you got to pay for the tickets. And what do you do afterwards? You're not in Toronto. Like, it's not like people like, oh, okay, I'm just going to go downtown and check out the Blue Jays game or whatever. No, like people were pissed and people were yelling from the fans, move the team back to Hamilton, which I was like, fair, like 100%. That's a fair thing to say. But you can't just go, like, if you're going expecting it's just going to be perfect because we planned it perfect, you're setting yourself up for failure. And that's probably what happened here from a league standpoint, thinking like, oh yeah, we fixed the problem, we're going to go best of 3, everything's going to work out, realizing that not everything is in your control. And again, I just don't think that it's smart to be like, hey, we're going to go in here and everything's going to work out perfect. As much as you need it to and want it to, you have to be prepared for everything. And I think the ball was dropped by numerous people here. And again, it's like you're making it sound like you just take your bag and go across the road and play at another arena. Like, it's just not an option.
No, and I never once said that.
Well, you just said they should have known. They shouldn't have played that game, and they should have played another host. You did just say that. That's what you were saying about Brampton.
Well, if they were so sketched out about this ice and whatever and causing a stink over it, then why didn't they say, hey, Winnipeg, how about, we'll just play the whole thing in your yard?
That's the other thing too. So then what's the point of a final series? Because that's where they're making their money. That would have been the most historic thing. They were told it was going to be okay.
This isn't, let's pray to God, this isn't something that's going to happen every year.
Exactly. And this is what, again, how did this happen? How do we, and like Donovan Bennett came on our live stream. And when we were like, what if you do contractually? He's like, no arenas want basketball for this exact reason. So again, to your point, it's like, okay, well, we're going to go another arena. Well, we have the same problem. We got to put ice in here. And now that we've seen what happened, we're not sure we can guarantee you. So you know what? We don't want to get in legal trouble. We don't want to have to reimburse you for your rent of the arena because you're a tenant here. And this is why, the Scarboroughs of the world, I'm sure David Asper would also appreciate having a more a properly sized arena where they have more control over it. But it's not the reality of the CEBL right now. And this is part of the growth. Like, and this is what I'm going back to the neutral site. Like, you're right. It's not going to be like, oh, 100,000 people are just going to flock to whatever city to watch it. But you have to build something and market it worth going for that is beyond just the basketball. That's why I like that festival thing. And that's what I make the comparison with the CFL, what they do really, really well. But what they do really, really well, and some markets are better than others. You know this. You've been to multiple Grey Cups. There's some that hit it out of the park. There's other ones that are good. May not be great. And then they go on to the next festival, and the next committee takes over, and they take what they learned from the last one. They have a postmortem. They talk to the last organizing committee. They hand over their notes. They build theirs, and then they do it with the next one, right? This is something that the CEBL can take, whether it doesn't have to be next year. And it's not going to be next year. They just said it. They're going to remain with a finals going forward, and that's fine. If this continues to be a problem, and again, these teams aren't making money hand over fist. Like, at some point, if it's going to put pressure on these teams that they can't afford to even be in the league, well, then you really have to look at it. Okay, what is the most cost-effective way that's going to service our fans, keep the teams not only happy but viable, and something that we can celebrate? Because the other thing about championship weekend is it did truly feel like a celebration of the game. And again, to your point, the other ones were not Winnipeg. But then Winnipeg came in and said, this is what you can do with it, right? So let's just say there was a championship weekend this year in a market like Montreal or a Vancouver or whatever, Calgary, Edmonton, you name it. But then you're going through that process of, okay, it's done. We're going to talk to the next organizing committee, and we're going to hand over our notes of what worked. And then you establish what we need, right? I don't think there were a lot of needs last year. I think it was just, here you go, Winnipeg. You make the blueprint. I don't think there was anything from the Vancouver. Was it Vancouver the year before, wherever the championship weekend was? I don't think there was anything from that one that was really handed over to like, here's the basics other than the game. We have the Final Four. You got to book the arena for this day and that day. And then this is how it goes. But if you can make something bigger than this, where you can have your award ceremony, because that's the other thing. The awards this year, just going to be announced on Instagram. There's no marketing opportunity. There's no pictures. There's no extra revenue coming in through sales of tickets for people that can watch that, or even just have the teams there for their dinner or whatever. Right? Like, it was a lot of fun at the award ceremony last year. I think that it's just worth revisiting whether it's the solution or not, because they might actually have a real meeting and not just speculate and be like, yeah, everything Taylor said is right. It's just completely unviable. We'll never do this for X, Y, and Z. But I want to know that there is an X, Y, and Z as these decisions are going forward. Listen, I'm sure next year the finals will go off without a hitch. It'll be a best of 3, and it'll be great. And whoever is in there will do whatever they can to ensure that it is perfect. Maybe it's the team has to bring in thicker insulation. I don't know. Like I've never seen Tay. I've never seen, and we've seen the footage in the post game where he scratches the frost. And I'm like, you've been to the arena or to an arena where you see that flooring. The insulation, there's ice underneath. You could feel the cold on your feet. Believe me, I've called games where my feet were freezing because the ice is underneath. And if you look hard enough, you might be able to see a little bit of white, like way deep inside. I've never seen it come over the top where it's now frost. And that's not good for the ice. So further to the CAA center, had you just waited 24 hours, you wouldn't have to redo the ice. There's no way that ice is usable after taking off those planks, what we saw come through the planks in the first place. So again, this is something that people have to, or the people that be have to go in there and realize there's basketball decisions to be made. It's not all about just the money. And if you have to extend the finals a little bit and give the team an extra day of travel, whatever the case may be, like when the Vancouver game happened, for instance, I couldn't even drive if I wanted to cover that game. And the flights were going to be $2,000 on Flair to go watch that game, the Western Conference Final in Vancouver. Vancouver couldn't sell out an arena they sell out often and have sold out in the playoffs in the past, right? Again, maybe there's a buy system. Maybe you do have a play-in game again where you know that the conference final is going to be at that place so you can buy your ticket and cancel it if you want, if you get the insurance on it, or maybe you just go to watch the Western Conference Final even though your team didn't get in. But even just having a buy gives you maybe up to a week to plan your trip and get a better flights, better hotel, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, it does come down to local fans. But if you truly want to be a league, and we go back to the CFL, because I think that is the best comparison in terms of what this league could be, is you have to be able to make the travel affordable so people are no longer just, not only am I a Seabears fan, I want to go watch the best CEBL basketball. It also comes down to a marketing thing. So there's so many facets to look at here. And I think that is the silver lining of what happened in game 1. It sucks for everybody that was there. Believe me, I saw the people that were upset. Some people were pissed. Some people were, confused, frustrated, probably a little bit of sadness there too, because it was their first game or their first time going to see the Honey Badgers, maybe just learned the Honey Badgers were in Brampton and now they're going to lose it. Possibly. I don't know. But there's so many things that happen here that now we can go with, like, here's the book of everything that did happen. How do we improve this?
Well, I mean, for that game in Vancouver, it was a Saturday afternoon, right? So it's like, for a lot of people, it's like it's a Saturday afternoon in August. That's prime time real estate for us in Canada, right? We don't have too many beautiful Saturday afternoons. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that they didn't get the attendance that they were probably hoping for. And that's probably been the case for lots of playoff games, again, because the games are on the weekends and stuff. Like, people got weddings, people go to the lake and whatever. But I don't know, like, yeah, in a perfect world, there would be a great festival and everyone would be flying in and whatever, and it'd be this big celebration of Canadian basketball. But like, at the end of the day, Joey, like, how many Niagara River Lions jerseys did you see in Winnipeg last year? How many Calgary Surge? How many Niagara River Lions jerseys did you see in Winnipeg last year? No, you didn't.
Oh, no, Niagara had like 50 people come in that were fans. They had 50 season ticket holders.
50 people. Okay.
50 season ticket. Now, okay,
that's not a lot of people at the end of the day.
I only saw 2 or 3 Scarborough shirts for sure. But like, people,
how many Calgary Surge, which is the easiest city to get to from Winnipeg and vice versa. How many Calgary Surge jerseys did you see in Winnipeg last year?
I saw a few, to a handful, maybe. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Mm-hmm. So this league, hopefully it does get to the level where it can have a festival and it's this massive event, but it's not there, right? It's not there. And again, you watch these CEBL, championship weekends and the years prior, like, it just...
But there was no marketing either. Like, what did you see on TSN? What did you see? Like, now we're on CBC, right? What we see are generic commercials of generic highlights of players that don't play on the teams anymore. In some cases, jerseys that don't even exist. Teams that are no longer called what they're called. So that's where the league has to take ownership. If you want this to work, you also have to invest in the marketing. That's what the CFL does. They invest in their Grey Cup. Month out, they're talking about Grey Cup in the city, when it's going to be on, and then there's...
It's been happening for over 100 years.
Again, Taylor, this isn't a 100-year-old league. How do you
exactly?
Think they got
so you can't compare them.
Yes, you can. Like,
No, you can't, man.
Okay, so what? We're just like, let's just not do playoffs. Let's just do a 24
what are you
game
even
season.
talking about? The Grey Cup's like a national holiday in Canada. Whether people like football or not, you get together, you have these Grey Cup parties, whatever.
I know.
There's
Okay,
this big festival, but
you're just
also
saying,
at this
so
festival,
the CFL came 100 years ago, and there's like national tradition. Everybody knows about it. There's no marketing involved. Everybody showed up. National tradition. It grew to that. Taylor,
if you think if you're praising the CFL's marketing, my goodness, man, that's not their forte either.
It's better than the CEBL's guy.
Well, of course, yeah, because again, the league's been around forever and they have more revenue and they're on TSN and yada yada yada. So they got more to work with, of course. The CEBL doesn't have the means to market it the way that the CFL does. They would love to. Of course they would love to. But did the CEBL just sign this record-breaking deal with DAZN and YouTube and TSN? No, they didn't.
Yeah,
they don't.
I'll tell you what, Taylor. I've been talking to league officials that are saying it's exactly this. When I say league officials, I mean team officials across the league. They all know there needs to be more marketing. This is one of the biggest calls that they're asking for. So while you say there's no resources there,
I'm not saying there's no resources. I'm saying they don't
that are coming in that have the money, like Mark Cuban, who can come in and pump some money into that. Like some of these teams want to spend more money and want to see where the money's being spent. In terms of
how many Honey Badgers posts have you seen from Mark Cuban? When they first made that announcement, he was there. Have you seen anything since?
He had a couple of retweets, but that's not what the point is. The point is that it's the money that's going into the product, not the retweets or the reposts. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's about where the money's going, where the money's coming in, because you got to spend money to make money. At the end of the day, it's like, to your point, people aren't just going to show up and be like, oh, yeah, I heard a championship weekend because a pigeon brought me a scroll that says you should come to Winnipeg for this here. At the end of the day, Winnipeg, I wish I had the numbers on me. I don't know how many people rolled through. It was a successful event. And yeah, a lot of people were from Winnipeg, obviously, and they had an advantage. But with that, they used the advantage to show what it can be. The marketing would have to be there. And regardless, so to your point, who's going to show up to the finals? 3,000 people. Like if that's the ceiling that we saw in Brampton outside of Winnipeg, then to your point, then this league doesn't have a leg to stand on at all. And it will never be the CFL because it won't be. Like, there has to be a vision for growth. Like, when I'm comparing the CFL, I'm not comparing present day CFL with present day CEBL. There's 100 years difference, more than 100 years difference between those leagues. But leagues have to grow. The NHL used to play in arenas that were much smaller than they are now. Right? They've been around for 100 years. If this league truly wants to be around for 100 years, you have to make these hard decisions and go through the licks now so that you can build on those. Not everything is going to be hunky-dory all the way up and all positive. You have to learn from these negatives, right? Like the Grey Cup once had the Mud Bowl, right? Where the ball was literally stolen from the field. That was the Grey Cup one time, not that long ago. They learned from it. Right now, they have the stadiums, they have things booked, they have the security. But even the CFL had to go through its growing pains, marketing or not. And to your point with the marketing, yeah, they might not be the best marketing, but they also have the benefit of being around for 100 plus years and being that tradition, as you said. The CFL doesn't have that. The CFL is still being discovered in a lot of cities and a lot of markets. So it has to be built up. And this isn't me saying, hey, let's go back to the finals or to the championship weekend. What I'm saying is you have to revisit all of the options to make it as easy as possible for people to access, whether that is in person or in broadcast, and they have to know what's going on, and they have to feel that's a league with integrity and some transparency so that people can go on and trust that things are going to go on. Like, to your point, what you just saw game one today, all right? Your team, and you're a casual fan. This is like, you're not a reporter, you're not covering the team. You're just a fan of the Winnipeg Sea Bears, and they're playing game one anywhere next year. Are you confident of going as maybe you were this year? After going to Brampton and seeing what happened, you're probably going to be a little bit hesitant, and I don't blame you, right? Because there was no explanation as to what was happening at the time other than, hey, thanks, game is canceled. That's all the announcement was in the arena too. Like, so to put on,
but that's not enough of a reason though to just kibosh this and go back to what they did before. Like, I get it, this is super disappointing and whatever, but at the end of the day, like, Joey, the main point I'm trying to make is it's really lame seeing a championship decided in an arena with a bunch of fans who really don't care about either team, and the place is about 70% empty. That sucks. Right? So I'm saying at all costs, if they can avoid that, because again, like, yeah, they did, roll the dice a little bit by doing this, but like, you kind of, if to take a step as a league to grow, like, yeah, they had to do this. They had to do a 3-game series. They had to do it like actually in those team cities as opposed to just a neutral site. Because again, like last year, it was cool, right? But even then, like for compared to like the average Seabears game, like the vibe for that finals, it wasn't like, oh my god, this is incredible. Like Winnipeg still, to our city's credit, they still came out and supported and had fun and whatever. But like it wasn't like a can't miss, holy smokes, this is incredible atmosphere, right? Which is what it's going to be on
Yep.
Saturday, right? And basically every other city in the league, if they hosted the championship or a championship weekend and stuff, it would not be at the level of Winnipeg.
And here's the
I'm not
thing.
a Winnipeg homer, but we are one
No,
of,
you're
if
right.
not the
It's the
best
Mecca. Everybody
sports
else, yeah.
city in Canada. This is
Yeah.
a blue collar sports town who we love our Bombers, we love our Jets, we love the Seabears, we love the Gold Eyes. Like this team, this city freaking loves sports, and whatever event it is, like people are gonna show up and support it, right? Where it's not gonna be the same in other cities. It's just not. So sure, if you want to host it in Winnipeg every single year, yeah, okay, well then maybe, but like that's
Some people
probably
have brought that up too. Like and like people with influence have brought up maybe it is one neutral site where you're going to have the success for maybe a extended tenure of like a contract that the next 3 finals are going to be, or next 2 whatever, in a single city, to kind of create that, hey, every year this is when it's happening, this time of year, own a weekend, right? Like I don't know if the long weekend's the right one, but like here's the weekend that every year it's going to be here, and that you can get your tickets, and there'll be packages, whatever. But that's not off the table either, Taylor. As much as it sounds like, you could do that. No, like that is a discussion. Is that something that could happen where it's like, let's go where we know it's going to be successful for the next few years? Because to your point, it is a young league, and you have to, it's people aren't just going to show up. But if they know the year one, like, hey, like, so let's just say going back to the Winnipeg, if it was here again this year, like as a normal championship weekend, right? The people that have went last year be like, oh man, like that was a lot of fun. Like I know what to expect. So I know at the very least I'm going to have a good time, right? And there's probably going to be more to it. So I want to go
also too, let's not forget, Joey. I think a lot of people did buy tickets though with the hope that the Sea Bears were going to somehow sneak their way into the final, right? Because the Sea Bears,
yeah. But I would go this, like, again, this is where, like, this is the thing. Like, we're having these conversations. Could you imagine what the conversations are going to be like within the CEBL and their board of governors and everybody in there? Like, it's so hard to figure out what the formula is, because if they had it, we wouldn't be having any of these problems, right? And I applaud them. I'm not saying the finals were bad. I was looking for it more than anybody. Where I got disappointed was, why would it be back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday afternoon where you can't really carry any storylines over? Like, even in the real leagues, as you say, they have a day between games. They're never playing back-to-back in a playoff finals. And then having the proper times, like 2:30 on a Saturday, to your point, who the heck wants to be inside if it's a beautiful sunny day?
I would imagine that wasn't the CEBL's call. Like
for what? Sorry.
Like having the afternoon games on the weekend. I would imagine.
No, I think you're right, because that's
TV, man. TV. Yeah. They decide when games basically are, for the most part.
Now,
and back to back is not ideal either, Joey. However, these guys got places to be, and I've heard lots of people say, "Well, why didn't they just kind of extend this and have push everything back?" But it's like these guys got places to be, right? Like like where do you think Jeremiah Tillman Jr. and Emmanuel Acott are right now? Like there's other guys in this league or on these teams that also have like teams that they got to get to and stuff. So you can't drag this out any further.
This is why I also think the finals might not be the play. I think we just go to single elimination. Highest seed gets the game, and you give them a week to get there. You make it Friday night. And if you're going to make it afternoon, make it Sunday, because we're just more programmed for Sunday afternoon viewing. But maybe the finals isn't the play, because all the benefits you get from the final, like, okay, here we are for sure. Like, perfect example today. Here we are doing finals programming, and I'm willing to bet we're the only ones doing it, right? We can't even carry storylines. So we got great storylines. Had the game happen, we would have had the post game. We would have been breaking it down yesterday, breaking it down today, going to practice, having our live game day tomorrow with all these juicy storylines of what happened, what's happened in between, the matchups we're looking for, who played bad, who didn't play great. And then we'd have game 2. And then say game 2, the other team wins. We don't even have time for a show. We're going into the next game day. And like, so all of the benefits of a series, which is building up the storylines, which helps the Winnipeg Free Presses of the world, the TV stations of the world. You want to get that TSN Sportsnet coverage for things that are not wet floors. these are the things that help. You got to give the audience and the people covering your league something to bite into.
But they
So
don't
I
have
think
time,
you just go
right?
finals, just
This
one league. Sorry, go
and
ahead.
this is
Or
not a
final.
knock. This is not a knock on the league, but like this league will always be flawed because it's a summer league, Joey, right? Like it doesn't matter. You could start the league earlier, you can start it later. Like at the end of the day, it's not going to accommodate all these players, right? And we
Ever.
see it year after year after year, guys showing up late and guys leaving early, whether you finish the year later or whatever. Like it's always going to be flawed because it's a summer league. These guys love playing this league. This league has done wonders for so many guys. There's been so many guys that, you know, probably weren't going to go off to play overseas and make six figures for a few years if it wasn't for the CEBL, or go on to the NBA and et cetera. But at the end of the day, when you are a summer league, it's never going to be perfect. So we have to realize that. Like, yes, of course, it'd be amazing if there was, you know, a final, best of three finals, and the games are all super spread out and whatever. But it's like this league is in such a time crunch always. Like that's just the case, right? It's always going to be the case, and that's fine. And there's some tweaks you can make to kind of offset some of those things. But at the end of the day, like this league is always going to have its flaws. And again, that's not a knock. That's they know that, and whatever. That's how it works. But like, it's never going to be perfect. Is basically what I'm saying. All you can do is strive to be as close to perfect as possible.
So now we're coming full circle of what I was saying earlier, like taking those lessons of what you learned today to try to make it a little better, because it's never going to be perfect. I don't know if you've seen Oren Weisfeld's article that was published to TVO, right?
Did.
And this is why I want to bring this up 50 minutes later. But the one thing that worries me is that the priorities of what should be looked at are being overlooked for things that might further cause damage, in my opinion. Like, I don't think the league needs to be more American. I didn't even realize when he started putting percentages out about how many more, you know, Americans and import spots are here, and that they want to expand into or at least are discussing expanding into American markets. Again, not to compare, I know you say apples and oranges, but like other leagues have tried that too, and it didn't go so great, right? So like there's things where I think they have to look at is like, what is actually working, what actually isn't working, and let's not create problems where there aren't any. Let's look at, hey, before we think about expansion and all this other stuff, we had a hard time getting the playoffs through with, you know, 10 teams in the league. So, and all within domestic travel. Could you imagine if there's a team, like even let's just say North Dakota, like coming over to Winnipeg in the finals? Like, it's a huge hassle. You're putting a lot more on the line here to get people to these important games on short turnarounds. And again, to your point, yeah, there's the NHLs and stuff like that, but it's just different. Like the CEBL is not there. To your point, apples to oranges. You can't compare yourself to the major leagues, right? You're not there. You're a growing startup league that has built a lot of momentum. And I feel like there's conversations that might be happening that might not only stall it, but reverse it. These are the things you have to talk about. The product on the floor, just getting to the floor, is as bare bones as it gets. You couldn't have a basketball game. Again, not totally the CEBL's fault, not totally the Brampton Honey Badgers' fault, and a lot of blame to go to the CAA Center. But to your point, a mix. Everybody has a little bit of play in here. But you have to go in there and see, like, okay, we couldn't control that, but how do we get more control moving forward? And I think you have, like, before you start inviting people into your house, you got to clean it first. And I think there needs to be a lot of cleaning done here in this offseason to make sure that the house is clean before you start thinking about inviting other guests and having a massive party. So, like, and the thing is too, and I brought it up earlier, fiery conversation. Just so you know, Taylor and I still love each other. We're speaking out of passion because we love this league. We want to see it succeed, right? Passion is not a bad thing, and having these, you know, fiery conversations is only happening because the league has built this momentum. If this is year one, we're not that passionate about Tay. Like we're not getting too fired up about this because we're still kind of learning about the league. And if this all happened, and who knows if this happened,
Matt Bonomi might, though, because he would die for this league, and he would take a bullet for anyone that runs this league. Sorry, Matt, I had to. That was
he's taking a lot of heat for that one. But no, like this is, you know, and but this is it, and I'm seeing it in the chats, you know, and this isn't a Taylor is right or Joey is right and the other's wrong. This is not the point of the conversation. But people are seeing, like, yeah, I can kind of see this point, I can kind of see that point, but you have to put it all on the table. You can't just take one thing away. You have to have these conversations, like you and I are having it as, you know, media people, as broadcasters, as, you know, putting out our opinions based on what we know. They have to have the conversation of, here is the data. here is the analysis that, we don't put on public because it's not public knowledge, doesn't help the public in any way, shape, or form. We have to take our knowledge, our practices, our experiences, our fans' feedback, our media feedback, and put it all up in one big pot and start prioritizing where the root of the problem is. What is within our control, what isn't, what are the things we're always going to have to live with. Like you said, one of those things is the fact that it's always going to be rotating players coming through. And you and I know, Taylor, like a season is really like three separate rosters, right? Like you kind of have like your beginning roster, and then you kind of really start building your team in the middle when guys start ending their overseas seasons, and you try to hold on to who you can going into the finals and maybe add another piece or two if there's someone available. But there's like, if you're a general manager, it's tough because you're looking basically at three different phases of the season that are going to require three different recruiting methods to build that proper team that's peaking at the right time. It's a tough science, and I honestly think any GM that finds success in the CEBL should probably be looked at for other leagues that have a little more stability, because if you can make this work consistently with all the challenges that come in naturally with this, you're in good shape to do something in a league where you have a lot more consistency and a lot more less urgency in finding players where there's you can sign guys long term. But these conversations need to happen from a point of, hey, yeah, people are pissed, people are fired up, but that's a good thing. Like, it's a good thing that we're having this conversation, and the fans are, in our comments right now, going off on what they think and what they feel and what they want. And I really do hope it's all being taken into account. I hope they're talking to the person that is is selling their ticket for $3,000, as Stat Guy Ty showed, and the person that might buy it. What's driving that, right? And why? Like, what is driving the passion here that people are traveling? Whether it's the 50 people from Niagara, whether it's the 2 people from Scarborough or whoever from Calgary, like, why were they coming? What was it that they liked about this? Was it the team? Was it the event? And did people not know about the event? How, like, should there have been more promotion from inside for the finals? Do we do, hey, the CEBL finals are here, can you do a partnership with redtag.ca or something where it's like, hey, if you're an insider with the CEBL, finals are coming, you can book your finals even last minute at whatever percentage off to, try to make it off where, the advertiser's getting some plug, you're getting some help in terms of making it maybe more affordable for fans to travel. But again, like if Winnipeg, everybody here is Jets fans. So if the Winnipeg Jets go to the Stanley Cup final, even then there's usually a little bit of pad. They don't usually end Game 7 and start like on Friday and then start on Saturday the Stanley Cup finals.
You can't compare. It's again,
I know, but you have to find a way that people know it's coming, right? And this is why I'm saying you can't compare. The Winnipeg Jets can do it because it's the NHL. The marketing's through the roof. You're seeing it on Sportsnet. You're seeing it on TSN. They've got all the money in the world. The CEBL does not. This is speaking directly to your point. It's not comparable, and that's why I'm bringing it up. So if you're expecting that people are just going to go to the finals because your team's in it last minute, that's just not the case. And when are the finals? Like, that should be something maybe right off the top. And I know they put like the at the start of the season, hey, the finals are going to be this week, blah, blah, blah. But you got to push it throughout the season too. Like, hey, don't forget the finals are coming up. Hey, we're heating up. The finals are August 12th or whatever the case may be. Best of 3 starts here. Is your team going to be in it? And start plugging ways that's putting it back in people's heads that, like, oh yeah, my team's in the hunt right now. Like, even the Edmonton Stingers who, crept into the playoffs, even those fans, you got to be like, yeah, oh man, if this miracle comes in, I got to start thinking like, okay, so it's Brampton and Scarborough are the top 2, so they're likely going there if they get through. But like, the fans almost have to think ahead a little bit too, and maybe there's some work for the fans, but you have to find a way that it's at front of mind, so it's not just creeping up on you of like, oh shoot, yeah, okay, we won, now what? Oh, okay, got to go to Brampton. Like, it's not, this country's not easy to travel, especially last minute. And if you're doing an east-west type of thing where what if it was Montreal and Vancouver? Like, that'd be impossible, like, for fans, like the average fan, to get to a game. So again, I wish I had answers.
You mean the average traveling fan to get to a game? You mean?
See what you did there.
No. I'm actually asking.
Oh, I thought you were referencing an Instagram thing. Yeah, no, but
yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's one of Joey's 17 Instagram accounts, the traveling fan, for those that don't know.
But yeah, no,
but you can't really cater too much to the hardcore traveling fans. I mean, my heart goes out to the Winnipeggers who went to Brampton. I have a lot of respect for those folks for doing that. And I hope, whether it's the CEBL or the Sea Bears, that something is being done to kind of make it up to those folks, because that That was a real bummer. But yeah, Joey, I mean, there isn't enough of those fans though, the traveling
Yeah.
fans, where you have to cater the whole shebang to those people. Because again, that's great that 50 Niagara fans came to Winnipeg last year, but for the championship weekend. But at the end of the day, though, that's not a substantial number. You need it to be in the thousands.
If we can turn to the broadcast, because I think this is the natural next step. So if you're not going to travel, you want to watch it and you want to get the best possible experience. There were so many issues with Brampton that we were hearing about that they knew about, and they still went with the path that they went with, which was calling a game out of a booth in Toronto and having a sideline reporter. And it's going to be the same thing this weekend on Saturday in Winnipeg, where they're not going to feel the energy. You don't have as much, you're depending a lot more on connections and things like that to get to air from one place to the other. I think, to your point, if they're not going to travel, you at least have to put a premier product on TV that people can watch and feel like they're watching a league like the Grey Cup. And I think that is very much comparable in terms of a broadcast. There should be and I'm not saying you have to have like the spider cam and all that stuff, but I mean, you have to have a dependable broadcast with people that love the league, that are in the league, that are following the league, that are there in person, that can feel that energy, that can bring those stories that are leading up to the game or throughout the series. They're seeing the fans, or talking to fans, or talking to players, that they can put out the best possible broadcast, whether it's a finals, plural, with multiple games or one. But that is the other thing. If they're not going to travel,
that's a bigger issue, Joey. That's just sadly the lay of the land in Canadian sports media right now. Like the Winnipeg Free Press, we are the only outlet in town that consistently covers the Sea Bears, and we are the only outlet that sent a reporter to Brampton for that game.
Yeah.
Same thing with Bombers. We are the only outlet in the country that travels for the CFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
NHL, we're the only outlet, and again, in this, and I'm not like trying to be like waving the free press flag. I'm just trying to paint the picture here as to like what the scene is like right now. Like, you're seeing outlets shut down and cut their sports department, and layoffs happening. All these sports radio stations across the country, seemingly every second week, it seems like a different station's getting shut down and stuff, right? So yeah, like everyone is cutting back big time. I mean, Post Media used to spend
but you can't
money
the coverage
travel, right?
for sure. Like, but that I'm not talking about, like, the landscape is everything. But the thing is, though, Tay, is the broadcast is in control of the CBL. Like that's one thing you do control, right? And
for sure.
I know
I'm just saying, though, just across the board, though, that there's been so many cutbacks in just Canadian sports media. So yeah, it's absolutely outrageous that, you know, the play-by-play and color person aren't going to be in Winnipeg for Saturday. But I'm just trying to, you know, pull back the curtain a little bit and just say, sadly, this is kind of becoming the norm with Canadian sports, even for the Olympics, right? Yeah. Like CBC didn't have these people you know, actually on site calling.
And I'll be fair, like but Olympics, like, again, that's like apples to oranges, because like the Olympics, there's how many sports where in the world.
No, I get that. I'm just saying, though, like this is sadly becoming a thing where people are calling these very notable games, events, sports, whatever, in a booth in a studio in Toronto. So hopefully that does not become the norm moving forward. But it's
well, especially for this league, though, like if you don't have the people in there that, you know, are, because that's the other thing too, like you don't see their faces much, right? I know they do that little box and like picture thing, but you don't really get to know the personalities. They only had 6 games this year. Like, you know, I look at it, it'd be nice if they had own a day, right? And if you're going to have 2 networks, have 2 different days with 2 different tones. Maybe you've got the Tuesday night game on TSN because it doesn't conflict with the CFL, right? And that's you just know by appointment every Tuesday is a featured game in the CEBL where we're marketing the Stars. You're putting actual commercials out, not just the catch every Tuesday on TSN, which sounds exactly the same as every Sunday on CBC. But maybe you have the CBC tones a little more like, family friendly, get the family together the day, you know, watch it outside, whatever, at the campsite, you know, that's the tone for the CBC. And then the TSN night one's a little more edgy, whatever. I don't know. But you figure out how we're marketing to the people that are viewing in those networks, and try to get those casual eyes that might not know to be like, I'm just intrigued to watch. And then when you get to playoffs, then you have that. Like last year you had crews, right? You had crews that were there. We were doing hits, you know, pregame that were airing on Sportsnet and things like that, or not Sportsnet, sorry, Sports Center. There were things in place that at least there was some messaging going on that people were like, okay,
okay, this is the CBL Finals. First I'm hearing about it. Okay, that name. Okay, if I watch it, I got to remember that Sean East guy or that Xavier Moon guy. I'm going to keep an eye on that kind of thing. That guy sounds like he's exciting to watch. But you have to build something. The basketball is good, but you also have to complement it. And I just think that's an area where we're losing the complement of not having people there in person. That the league, and whether it's the league or the networks, like maybe it gets to a point where it's a TV rights deal. I don't believe that's the case right now, but you got to build up some personalities that people are going to see year after year. Because to your point, you're never going to have a player for too long. The Khalil Ahmads of the world are rare. The Xavier Moons were here for a few years, gone. They came back, also rare. At the end of the day, the most consistency you're going to have is likely through the media personalities that are there, and then the coaches, if they're Canadian. And I'm not saying don't have American. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if you can get a coach for a few years that like the thing with the youth sports coaches is they're probably not going to go to the NBA, and I don't know if a Mike Rainbow has the aspirations to be a G League coach. You know what I'm saying? Like he probably just wants to be here in Winnipeg. He can still control his UW stuff in the summers, and he gets this awesome experience to coach a professional team and a whole new level that's in his own development. But you can probably, if you're the organization, you're signing a coach, you could probably say, oh, we can get him for a few years, right? Okay, let's he's our guy. And I think the Sea Bears do a good job of that. And they did it with Mike Taylor. They had some offseason stuff where Mike Taylor was visible, but he just wasn't living here, right? Mike Rainbow was doing camps. Like it keeps everything front of mind, but it's kind of like college football. The coaches are more famous than the players. The players become famous, but then they go off to the NFL, or even in basketball, they go off to the NBA. But, you have the Coach K's of the world, the Coach Calipari's, like they become household names themselves. And it's not that you're trying to sell the coaches, but there needs to be familiarity. And right now, there's none, right? That people were familiar with the old leadership. I don't think anybody can name or point, the leadership out in a crowd right now. And you got to build that up. You got to have personalities that are going to push the league even when they're not on the air, or they're not leading up to their games. And we have those people. And I want to give credit to all of the local people across, the league. There are so many people that take this so seriously. Just look at the Target Score Network, right? The Matt Bonomis and the D-Ball Sarahs, the Chris Wiggins, the Andrew Savorys, who absolutely love this league in other markets that aren't Winnipeg. And I know we get great support here, and we are very grateful for that. But there are other people that are working to do the same thing in other markets. They need to have a better platform. If you give them a platform, and if they care and they're telling stories from the heart, it's only going to do better at attracting people. So I think from a broadcast standpoint, we talked a lot about traveling and stuff like that, which you're so right, Taylor. It's not enough yet to cater to, but it has to be in the back of your mind. And if you're going to get to that point, it starts with people watching at home. If they're watching a product at home and they're enjoying that product week after week, they're getting to know these players. We are pumping these players out. Like I want an ad that says, Tuesday night on TSN, Sean East and the Brampton Honey Badgers look to punch their ticket to the playoffs, while Xavier Moon and the Winnipeg Sea Bears are, looking to keep things rolling after a dominant week in the CEBL. Honey Badgers, Sea Bears, Tuesday, 8 p.m., whatever. Put out your thing. But you have to market it that way where it's like, hey, this is appointment viewing. I got to get there. I got to watch this. And now, because the point, the Sea Bears fans, and you know this, Taylor, Sea Bears fans watch the rest of the league. There's an interest in the rest of the league. They might not watch every game, but they know the players. And we're at the point now when players from other teams join the Sea Bears in another season, we have a knowledge of that, right? People are excited when they hear a name like Jeremiah Tillman Jr. is coming in, right? Oh, CEBL champion. We know what that means. We have a bit of a history here. That has to happen everywhere else. And I know that Winnipeg is the best sports city in Canada. I agree with you. I've said it on the record many a times. But I also think that is the blueprint. Winnipeg does a really good job at marketing here. Winnipeg is the exception. And I think other teams might not have the means, or to you, so they might not feel, well, we're taking a big risk here. Is the reward worth it? But then it falls on the league. How do we market this that, A, when their team's playing, they're going to watch and we're going to get the numbers, but also when they're not, they're just like, hey, it's Tuesday night. It's just habit now that I'm going to turn it on TSN and even watch in passing what's happening in the CEBL, or Sunday on a CBC, whatever the case is. But I think there's so much here. There's so much good and there's so much opportunity that needs to be grasped. And if they can do that, I think it's going to be great. But if you don't have a good product to watch at home, they're certainly not going to travel elsewhere to watch it. And again, for someone hearing about the CEBL for the first time on Sportsnet that has no vested interest or any kind of, tie to the league, and it's, game one was canceled because of a wet floor. Again, and I will say, I do agree with Ty Masriou, I think it is a little bit overblown. Like when you watch it on sports, I don't think people were like that don't watch the league were like, oh my God, what a disaster. They're probably like, oh, that sucks. But they're also like, what's the CEBL? Right? We need people to be like, oh, the CEBL didn't have game one. Like, we need more of the, to be fair, we need more of the reaction of the diehard fans that were pissed, sad, like, everything you described. But again, if they can't watch it at home and get the quality that they want, then what's the point? And even for the local streams, some of them look like they're on webcams. And that can't be a thing. There needs to be a standard that at least doesn't have to be like 4K, but you have to have a standard that I can clearly see the court. I can clearly see the players and their numbers. We have some cutaway shots on the sidelines that look good. A director that can make sure it looks crisp so that when I'm watching, I don't notice all of the bad stuff. So I think it starts with the broadcast from the national level and then down there, like into the locals, having some sort of uniformity.
Well, a decade ago, we would have chopped our left arms off to have a Canadian basketball league, even with flaws that we could argue about for 70 minutes. So, yeah, this league has lots to work on and probably always will have lots to work on. And no, this summer of CEBL basketball was probably not the best or best example of what this league can be and probably will be eventually. But I just hope, and I'm sure you just hope too, that the powers that be learn from all these things, right, and do what they can to ensure these things don't happen, or at least don't happen as often moving forward. So yeah, this will be a long winter in the land of CEBL for sure. And yeah, things are going to get interesting. But yeah, before we went live this morning, Joey, we're kind of talking about how we're going to attack tomorrow. Maybe having a show or two. And before we went live, I was like, man, like we're doing a show this morning, then maybe 2 tomorrow. I'm like, we're going to run out of things to talk about. But yet here we are 71 minutes in, and I don't think we've said a single word about the actual game. The actual game that's going to be played tomorrow. Winner takes all. It's going to be awesome. So, yeah, so I'm looking forward to actually diving into some basketball tomorrow, as opposed to all the drama, all the literally on-court drama.
Tomorrow's the turning of the page, right? And to the point, if the basketball game had happened, all of this conversation would have been just as fiery about the actual product, which is what we need to get to. And after tomorrow, I think that's where the page turns. And we'll have our game day live, and excited to tee up the game. I'll be at practice today, figuring out what's happening here, see how the guys are feeling after their travel yesterday. Again, they had an off day yesterday. Both teams were able to travel. They've got a day in between to prepare for this game, which is a winner take all. But yeah, this is, again, very fortunate too, also, Jay, that this is in Winnipeg and not in a market that might not draw as well, as I heard there's now more than 10,000 tickets sold for this game. And I imagine by the end of today, again, if we can get 15,000 or near that, anything close to filling up that building will be phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal anyway, but bring out the teal, have the teal party. I'm really excited for tomorrow. And regardless of how we got here, it's here. And after tomorrow, there is no tomorrow. It all ends tomorrow. So I'm really excited. Taylor, man, I love you. Thank you for this conversation. This was awesome. And I think everybody really appreciated it too. And sorry for everybody in the comments. Like, they're going off. I gotta go in here and look at them all after. But I appreciate that. I want to say one thing too, again, not to totally poo-poo on the league here. The one thing the league did really well, I love the fact that there was no paywall for the games this year. And that you were able to watch on YouTube. And I think the viewership shows.
That was fantastic.
I think the viewership shows. So you gotta give the league credit for making this a very accessible product. And now that it's accessible, the next step is making it suitable. And I think that'll be the big thing for next year. Do you have any final thoughts, Taylor, before I let you go here?
You know what? Yeah, obviously Wednesday was not what anyone wanted, but again, I think Saturday is going to be awesome. So yeah, tomorrow let's flip that page. I'm tired of talking about humidity and temperature and ice and whatever other words that have been used constantly since Wednesday. So yeah, I'm ready for some actual basketball. And again, I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Tomorrow is going to be the biggest professional basketball moment in our city's history, and I'm over the moon, man. It's going to be awesome.
Over the Xavier moon?
Hey, there we go. But no, it's going to be cool, and hopefully, it's a close game, goes down to the wire, and just seeing that 1 minute and 48 seconds of action between these two teams, or whatever it was. Yeah, I think it is going to go down the wire and going to be an awesome game. So hopefully tomorrow is so good, so exciting, so much fun, and the atmosphere is so great that we don't hear as much about the game one debacle. It's always going to be a thing. People are going to bring it up years from now. Hey,
let's wait. Yeah, let's wait till the off season until we start talking about it again. Let's let the celebration pan out a bit for whichever team wins. Enjoy the final. We'll get to it at a later date.
Exactly. But no, it's going to be awesome, man.
All right. I want to thank one more time our sponsors, Holt Dental. They're from day one, week 8. Visit their website. Visit them at 65 Trotter Bay. Holt Dental, 1176 Taylor Avenue. If you need a new dentist, they're looking for new patients. Monday's Cafe. They fueled me today. They're on the corner of Broadway and Donald again. We hope to go live from there this weekend, probably the Sunday after. We'll do a wrap-up show there. You're all welcome to come, so we hope to see you there. And we will have a live show likely tomorrow morning. Times for both tomorrow and Sunday, the pregame stuff and the daily morning show on Sunday. Times to be determined, so stay tuned to Instagram at Target Score Podcast, at Taylor Allen 31, at Joey Slattery TV. And of course, like and subscribe to this if you haven't already. We've seen great growth of this channel in the last few weeks. It's been awesome. I love everybody on the chats. Thank you so much for coming out here this morning and being on the chats. And also Finn McCool's on Grant. Go visit them in Grant Park Mall. Jay and his staff do a wonderful time. Happy hour 2 to 5 every day. And we will have those gift certificates to give away in the next 2 to 3 shows. We have a post game tomorrow, and you're at the game tomorrow too, right, Taylor?
Absolutely, I'm at the game tomorrow.
Well, do you have time? I don't know. You're a busy guy.
Well, I'll be honest. I did have a family cabin weekend planned, but I'm like, sorry, I'm out, man. There's no way I'm missing this. So yeah, I'm ditching my loved ones, and I'm absolutely.
I talked to your mom about that, and she was a little disappointed. So
yeah, no, I know,
Pat. I'm sorry, but I vouch for Taylor on this one. This one's worth it. But yes, we will be back tomorrow. Have the notifications on, and have your be tuned into Instagram. That's where we do most of our messaging. Dee and Matt Bonomi are here tomorrow. Excited to have them in. See you later. Enjoy the game. 2:30 tomorrow. See you then.